So Rod, a 3-3 draw here at Melbourne Park against Chippenham Town. Maybe a point gain now, given the circumstances, despite dominating the game?
I suppose when you look at making a mistake at 3-1, with probably just under 20 minutes to go, you've probably got to write us off. And I just said to my boys in there, listen, I can't fault them for coming back and probably could have won the game right at the end. So for desire, for character, all that type of thing, I've got to pat us on the back, but we should never be in these positions. Listen, this is the hardest part for me, and it's a testing time as a manager, because at the end of the day, if we was not creating chances, yet again I've seen here today, if we're not creating chances, I get that, but they being funny, before they went and scored their 2 goals, which are both down to us, both mistakes we made. One we never sort of locked on for the counter-attack, which we need to look at that. And obviously Welch got dispossessed, and being funny, Welch has been tremendous for us, and he's played a lot of games, and he'll learn from that as well. To be fair to that lad, he's run pretty much half a length of a pitch and still had the composure to finish it. But when I look on the chances that we created, doesn't matter whether it's from set pieces, open play, whatever, we've done everything we could have done here today. And unfortunately, if we'd have scored at the right times, I see that we win this game comfortable. But you have to give credit to Chippenham. They're going to go away from here quite happy with a point, and he'd probably be a bit disappointed winning the game at 3-1 with a short time on the clock. He's got to think that they can probably get the 3 points, but give credit to our substitutions today. We kept going. It's not easy. I can hear the crowd saying, Rod, get someone on, do this, do that. Well, if they're panicking, imagine how we feel sometimes in the dugout. It's not easy. But I thought composure today, game plan from me and Nick, to have to try and keep forcing it. You have to give credit, whether that credit's enough for what people want to give us credit for, it's down to them. But we haven't been beaten. We've kept a home run going at home. We haven't lost at home this season. People need to be aware of that. But on reflection of the game, I think we could have had double figures here today. And as I say, sometimes if keepers are pulling off weldies or whatever, I have to accept that, on the day it wasn't meant to be. But I just don't know how the ball never went in more times today. But credit to where it's due. It's great that Iggo's sort of come on and got a very good header. And we have to go again. We've got a massive game next week now, FA Cup. And sometimes you have to get your season to start somewhere, and maybe a good win away from home put us in the next round and put some coffers in the club. Maybe that's the little bit of thing that we need at the minute. But I just said to my players in there, with the squad we got an unbelievable squad here, and maybe sometimes we've got, as people say in life, you can be overqualified, and maybe we've got too many players that are too good for the level, or been around and played a lot higher, and maybe just the chemistry's not quite there. But I don't know. I'm watching mistakes. I mean, you got the mistake for their 3rd goal was criminal. It's just a know-nothing situation. Got back in the game, all what we asked them to do, and then all of a sudden do that. So for me as a manager, I can't do much about them situations. Unfortunately, I pick the personnel, and I just hope that they don't make them mistakes. And I think all their goals today were all preventable.
You mentioned the substitutions earlier. You made a triple substitution. Both of them, Higgins and Jeffers, both got goals. Ultimately, were the difference. How sort of important is it for them to both get on the score sheet, and for the confidence and of the whole team and individually as well?
It's massive, because one thing I'm questioning, we got goals in this team, and I'm sitting here watching the first half, and for all our good play, for all our good pressure, our application, everything we put in the box, I don't think we got what we deserved. The crowd was excellent today, I have to say to them, and I'll move on to that what you said there. They stayed with us. They could have really given it to me today at 3-1 down. I think they've seen a team that's sort of we wasn't 3-1 down because we got beat by a good team. We were 3-1 down because we made mistakes and we just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. However, then we take the positives, is that we did put Jeffers on and Higgins on, as you rightly said. Both of them scored the goals for us that got us something out of the game. And if we had a little bit of composure, I don't know if it was Elliot or Mickey at the end there, just a free kick in there, and you know, we come away with 4-3 winners, and it's a remarkable day, and everybody remembers the day. But you know, I will remember the day for the way that my boys stuck at it. They, you know, if anybody ever questions they're a team playing for the manager, I think that they showed that. You know, they never give in. They knew we was in trouble. They knew it looked like we were going to get beat at home, and they stuck with it. And credit to Jeffers, who took his goal very well. And you know, but that come from a long throw and a good touch in the box and a great finish. But to be honest and truthful with you, the boys had really sort of tried to play pressure football and really try and make mistakes, get some throw-ins and corners higher up the pitch, and in the end we got away with that. But listen, you know, the subs and Loza today made an impact. So as I just said there, the 3 substitutions have made an impact. We go again next week, and maybe, you know, we move the squad about and say to them, okay, well, you've helped us get a point here today, perhaps, you know, it's your turn to go and win us the game. So that's how it is at the minute, to be honest. You know, we've got such good players here that we have to persevere, and they have to understand competition is really, really strong. You know, if I'm not being honest, I'd like to bring, you know, maybe something in just to, obviously Cascavel's been out, need to bring 1 or 2 players in maybe, and maybe sort of let 1 or 2 players sort of go out and find some football. But you know, listen, let's just concentrate on today and say we got back in the game, and we kept the clean sheet, we kept the unrun at home, which is important for any manager. And I have to say that we you know, we brought the substitutions on that did get us back in the game. So for any doubters that may be sort of popping their head above the wall at the minute, okay, if I might have, unfortunately I didn't cost them the game in the first, conceding the 3 goals, but I certainly think I got gained disappointed today when it looked like it weren't doable. So credit where it's due, you know, as I'm saying, you know, you have to play at the whistle and you got to stay with it, and you know, the boys done that today.
You chose the start of Andy Fennell up front, solid 60 or so minutes for him. Maybe should have scored in the first half. What did you make of his performance?
Yeah, I mean, Andy was in the melee of quite a lot of what went on in the early stages of the first half. Probably didn't, in hindsight, I mean, Andy had a decent home debut for me. I thought he'd done well. In hindsight, it might have been right to maybe play as an impact player, but he looked great the other day against Cheshunt when he come off the bench. He scored a good goal. He looks like a goal threat, and I think he will score goals at this level. And I was brave, you know, you have to be brave. Now, we weren't behind because it was Andy Fennell, you know, don't get me wrong, we could have been 3-0 up and Andy Fennell could have had a match ball possibly, and everybody goes, what a great move that was by the gaffer. Andy done well, but I just felt there was times we probably asked a lot out of him when we wanted to turn the ball into areas. You know, he's just coming off another phase of play, so obviously we're now trying to turn it round the corner. And you know, he did get across a few times, especially in the first half, but second half he just looked like he was a little bit lost in there. And then we just brought on the impact lads, and well, listen, we took 3 of our players off and we brought 3 on, and 2 of them scored. So onwards and upwards. Listen, I'll get it right, and you know, listen, I've been here for a long time at this football club, and I've never had a relegation in my career. Never been nowhere near it. So, you know, for me, I have to keep positive in myself. I have to believe in the people around me, like Nick and all the rest of the staff, and I have to believe in these players. And you know, the club employ me to do a job for them, and they have to give me a bit of time. And you know, listen, there's a lot of pressure at this club at times, and we have to soak that up. And it's only because we've overachieved in the last few years. All right, people say, well, you didn't get us promoted, but hold on a minute, there's a lot of clubs that would bite our hands off to have 3 playoff chances. And yeah, okay, we've got a little bit of a voodoo when it comes down to getting over the line, but I see a lot of clubs paying big money every season and they don't even get near the playoffs. So, you know, we have to be believing that we will be there or thereabouts, and I do believe in this lot of players. I just think we just got, some of it is just put the ball in the back of the net and keep the ball out the other end, just real basic stuff. And that's why I'm saying we might need to have a look at that, because we are good enough to climb this table and we're good enough to have a successful season. And biggest game for me is next week, because, you know, from always at one. We need to get on a run, and maybe this is the year that we have a good run in the FA Cup. Who knows? So it's always hard to do both, but maybe the FA Cup's going to be good for us this year.
Well, moving on to next week, obviously, as you say, FA Cup second qualifying round against Corinthian Casuals. A little bit of a different test, a break from the league. What kind of test are you expecting?
A tough test, as I said. So someone said to me about the other week when you go and get the jaws. Good sweat on, boys, with that bit of water over your face. Here you go, you've been around a long time. Is that what it was? But yeah, no, going back to the FA Cup, yeah, listen, it's massive. It's a tough tie. I always say, people go, oh, that's a good tie. I say, listen, anything in the league below is always a dodgy tie. Because they're going to raise their game. We've got to go away from home. Our own form at the minute is probably as worse as it's ever been. So they're going to take the leaf out of that. But, if we turn up next week and do the right things at the right times, then we should win the game. And hopefully we'll be in the out on Monday. But it's never easy. You have to give credit to all these teams, that are, whether they're a league below or one or two leagues below that. They're going to have a go. And it's their cup final as well as our cup final. And no doubt if we end up playing a team which is, one or two leagues above, we do the same. So nothing's never easy. Nothing's never easy. We just have to stick at it, keep believing in ourselves, and hopefully next week we can stand here having an interview that we're waiting for the draw on Monday. It can't be anything other than that.
Given that it's a break from the league, will you be looking to ring the changes?
It's so difficult. I had a couple of things on the go this week, and which I think might have made us stronger as a unit. But it's like, this time of year, mainly it's going into sort of clubs and getting one or two loans, and I've pretty much done one or two bits of business this week, and then just to make us stronger and give us a bit more depth in certain areas. And then all of a sudden, bosh, you sort of get let down at the last minute. So Monday's another start to another week, and I'll be working hard in that week to try and maybe freshen things up and maybe getting one or two players in the building just to give us a different dimension. Because we're having to get too many players playing in areas. It's not perfect. That obviously defensively is my main issue, and that's a right back, and that's another centre half. So that's I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to keep it a secret. That's what I need. I think Elliot does a great job in both areas, but I do think we need to have a little bit more depth there. And obviously the goals we're conceding obviously identifies that as well. And don't get me wrong, when you concede a goal, it's not always down to the back line, but it's always just how you get detached. As you see, when they broke away and scored, we got detached, and really that's not good enough. So it's not just down to defenders, it's down to us as a team. And we need to be better. But look at my bench today. You had Ollie Muldoon, you had Tom Wright, you had Higgins, you had Loza, you had Jeffers. Any of them would walk into any team in the top six in this division. So it tells you that the quality's there. And today, to be fair, them boys got us a point and probably saved us from, I'd have to say, embarrassment, because it would have been embarrassing if we'd have got beat here today. The way we went down with the goals we conceded. I know that it's never easy to win any game, home or away, but the way we conceded them goals, it would have been very embarrassing here today. So just thank the Lord that the boys come on and done the business.
Cheers, Ron.
Cheers.